All right, what is happening? How is everybody doing today? My name is Chuck and welcome back to a brand new video. So today what I wanted to do is I wanted to give you guys a top 5 best rebirth classes you guys can use. As you guys know, I upload quite a bit of rebirth and I've uploaded a decent bit of class set of videos on it. So I wanted to kind of compile all the best ones that I think are out there and give you guys them here in a video. And to keep in mind, these are the classes that help me drop, 15, 20, 25 kills a match on rebirth. And you guys know there's not that many people in there. So when you can fry through enemy squads with a great loadout, it's just gonna be super nice. So you guys are definitely gonna enjoy today's video. But before any farther, make sure you guys drop a like in the next 5 seconds for some good luck, and also hit that subscribe button with all notifications turned on, because we are on the road to 800,000 subscribers, and I'd really appreciate it if you join the squad. Okay, so the first gun we're gonna be getting into building here is gonna be the PPSH, because I think the PPSH is an absolutely incredible SMG that is definitely not given nearly as much love, even though it's incredibly good. So this is gonna be a banger setup for it. So the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna go into the muzzle category. What we're going to equip on this is the regular sound suppressor. We're equipping on this on here because this is like the suppressor that is designated for like close range or just having like a more mobility on your gun, as opposed to the GRU suppressor, which is more or less kind of meant for like having more range and being able to take people out at farther distances. So what we're trying to do here is make ourselves as lethal as possible at close range. So the sound suppressor is going to be our go-to here for the PPSH. Next up, what we're doing is we're going to go straight into that barrel section, and on the barrel section, we're going to go to use that 15.7 task force barrel. That's going to give us that effective damage range, bullet velocity, and of course that strafe speed. This was the best barrel beforehand and is still definitely going to be the best barrel for you guys to use, so I'd highly recommend it. There's no other barrel in here that I feel like would really be better than the task force, so just definitely go with that. You can easily deal with that vertical and horizontal recoil. It's really not all that bad, to be honest with you, so definitely run this. Next up, we're going into that laser section, and what we're actually going to put on here is we're going to go down to that Tiger Team Spotlight, and we're going to put this on here, and what this is going to do is increase our movement speed and our aim walking movement speed, aka it's going to make us a harder target to hit at close range, which is incredibly good. And that can mean the difference between some life and death situations where you're maybe one shot but you've been strafing so quick that you were able to get out of those situations. So that Tiger Team Spotlight is going to be hugely beneficial. Next up, we're going into the ammunition, and we're going to actually put on the basic 55 round drum magazine. And the reason we're actually running this instead of something else, like maybe like the 71 round magazine or the Vandal speed loader or the VDV 50 round fast mag, is just because this thing actually reloads quick enough, and giving us a boost from that 30 to 55 rounds is absolutely amazing. And I would definitely suggest to just run this exclusively. Though if you really want to, I have made a setup video where I did use the 50 round fast mag, and I still found that to be pretty effective, but I don't really want to chalk my aim down sight speed nearly as much with this, and this is really honestly not going to affect our aim down sight speed, so definitely go ahead and give this a try. And to finish this off, what we're going to be doing is we're going into the stock category, and we're going to go down and equip the Raider stock. That's going to give us ADS firing movement speed, aim walking movement speed, and sprint to fire time. This is just like your all-around best thing to run for a closer quarters build, so I definitely recommend running this. This is an amazing setup here on the PPSH. Hope you guys do enjoy this one. Definitely go ahead and give it a shot. Tell me what you think about it down in the comment section below. I really like using the PPSH. I think it's a fantastic SMG. Definitely go ahead and give this a try. Okay, so next up what we're doing is we're going to be taking a look at the Pharah 83. So the Pharah did get a bit of a nerf here, but it's realistically not all that much. And I'll show you a way to modify the class up to kind of compensate for any type of nerf if you feel like you can't control like some of the recoil. So, but first thing is first, in the muzzle category, we're actually also going to equip the regular suppressor on this thing instead of the GRU, because on Rebirth, having the GRU suppressor can be beneficial for some guns, but for a lot of them, having that faster ADS time is going to be very beneficial, as opposed to being able to take people out of farther ranges, because how often in Rebirth do you get into engagements with people that are like way across the map? It's not regular Verdansk Warzone, so the regular suppressors can be more better suited to this, so we're going to throw that on there. Next up in the barrel section, what we're doing is we're going down to that bottom, throwing that at 18.7 Spetsnaz RPK barrel. Increased bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and of course vertical recoil control. This is just the best barrel. Honestly, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The 18.7 Spetsnaz is just what you guys should be running. Just always go ahead and run this and you'll be taken care of. Next up, we're going to go into the ammunition side of things, and what we're going to do is we're going to throw in the Spetsnaz 60 round magazine, not the fast mag or anything else like that. We're going to keep this a 60 round magazine. I don't believe it to be beneficial to run the 45. I just think the 60 is more beneficial. This thing has a higher rate of fire, so you definitely want to make sure you have enough ammo in the magazine to kind of take out as many enemies as possible, and the reload is realistically not all that bad, so there's no reason to run a fast mag unless for whatever reason you're trying to make this into an SMG build and you really just feel like you need to be able to reload that much quicker. Next up in the optics section, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and equip the Axial Arms 3x scope on this thing. This is an amazing sight ever since they happened to kind of patch it and make it more usable than it used to be. The Axial Arms 3x was not that great on fully automatic guns pre kind of like buff, if you want to call it that, but I really like it on fully automatic guns now on those Cold War weapons, so you guys should definitely go ahead and run this. I think this is a top tier attachment, but if you really want to, you could maybe run something like the Microflex LED if you don't want to be, you know, that zoomed in, but still want to use this as a primary. I actually dropped like 26 kills on Rebirth using the Microflex LED, so I think that's really good as well. But definitely the Axial Arms is going to be a solid choice if you want to make this a primary AR. So I definitely go and run that. And last but not least, we're going into that stock category, and we're on the KGB skeletal stock for that ADS firing move speed and walking movement speed and sprint to fire time. However, what I should say is that because of the nerf and there is a tad bit more recoil to the Pharah 83 right now, you guys could definitely maybe not run the KGB skeletal stock and maybe go down into the underbarrel section and throw in something like the Spetsnaz grip, which is going to help you with that horizontal and vertical recoil control. So it's kind of one of those things. If you feel like you can control the recoil, you probably should get some more mobility by putting that KGB stock, but if you can't control it, throw in the Spetsnaz grip, and I mean, literally, you just can't go wrong with either or. I mean, sometimes on PC, it looks like you have less recoil than you actually do versus console, so it's just kind of one of those things. Dictate what you feel is going to be best for you. Now we're going to be checking out one of my personal favorites and also one of the fastest time to kill guns at close range, the Cold War MP5. So this gun is amazing, so let's actually get straight into this build right here. So for the muzzle category, what we're going to do is we're going to put on that sound suppressor, and of course, like I said, this is that close quarter suppressor, which is definitely going to be the best thing out there for this gun. So we're going to go ahead and add this thing on there. Next up, we're actually going to skip over the barrel, go straight into the laser section, and we're going to go ahead and put on the Tiger Team Spotlight, and this is going to increase our movement speed and our aim walking movement speed. I actually skipped over the barrel section because a lot of the MP5 variants that come into Cold War have incredibly clear iron sights that we need to be able to take a look at, and I'll show it to you guys when I spin around, you know, the variant. But when you have a variant of the gun, it is really nice to be able to not have a barrel on it, and also when you do equip a barrel on it, it takes away that beautiful iron sight and replaces it with a Task Force barrel iron sight, which definitely isn't as good as it could be or as clear. So that's why we're actually skipping out on that, and honestly, it just doesn't really need it at all. So there's no reason to kind of, you know, make your gun a little bit more overkill and harder to use at close range. So after that, we're going to go straight into the underbarrel section. What we're going to do is we're going to throw on the Field Agent grip for that vertical and horizontal recoil control. This is going to make this gun an absolute laser beam, especially because we don't have a barrel on it, so it's not going to have a ton of vertical and horizontal kick. Now this thing is going to be even more, you know, of a straight shooting gun. So I really like this. And if you feel like you maybe just can handle the recoil and you don't really need something, but you want to get a little bit more movement, maybe the Bruiser grip or, you know, the Red Cell 4 grip, those are both going to be pretty solid options. But I really like the Field Agent grip on this thing. I think it's definitely really solid. Next up, we're in the ammunition side of things. What we're going to do is we're going to throw on the Stenag 50 round drum magazine. And like I said, you know, about the other ones, there's just no reason to equip a fast mag, though you definitely can. It's not necessarily going to be very detrimental to equip it, but if you are trying to go for, you know, maximum ammo capacity and not screw your aim down sight speed up as much, a Stenag 50 round drum is going to be your thing of choice. So I'd highly recommend going with this. I feel like it's perfectly fine for Rebirth in basically all close quarter situations. So just go and throw this on there. And to finish this whole build off, we're going to go into the stock category and go down and put on that Raider stock. ADS fire movement speed, aim walking movement speed, sprint to fire time. Of course, all amazing things here on the MP5. This is just a banger of a build here. And so let me show you guys this here. You can see the iron sights on screen are just a little bit different. They're very clear. That's why we don't have a barrel on it. So just make sure that if you have a variant, don't put a barrel on it, and you'll get a great iron sights to use. Okay, so now let's actually take a look at a gun that is one of my favorites to use on Rebirth, and that is indeed the XM4, because you can kind of use this like a hybrid AR SMG. It's pretty much good for all things right now, so that's pretty awesome. So let's actually go ahead and make this into kind of like a hybrid where you can use it at close, medium, and probably that medium to far range, but it's not really going to be great at far ranges. So first thing, going into the muzzle category, adding on the suppressor, the regular one, not the agency. If you're trying to make this into a regular AR build, and you could probably use a lot of the attachments I did on my Pharah 83, but because we're making this a hybrid, we're doing this a little bit differently. So we're going to throw on the regular suppressor here in the barrel section. We're going straight down to the bottom and throwing on the 13.5 task force. Of course, this does all the benefits of bullet velocity, horizontal recoil control, effective damage range, and vertical recoil control. So that is awesome. Now we're going to go into the ammunition side of things, and what we're doing is we're going to throw on the Stenag 60 round magazine for the increased ammo capacity. I absolutely love this thing, and I think this is definitely the best attachment on the magazine side of things for the XM4. Now in the optics section, what we're doing is we're going to throw on that Microflex LED, and this is more of a personal thing for me because I don't really like the XM4 iron sights all that much. I feel like they're a little bit hard to see out of sometimes. So I'd recommend to run the Microflex, and I've had some great success running the Microflex on this thing just because it's so unbelievably clear and easy to use. I would just recommend it. Honestly, it's definitely one of the best options out there. And then for the last thing, we're going to that stock category, the Raider pad. We're going to increase our ADS-5 movement speed and walking movement speed and sprint to fire time. This is a banger of a build. This thing has like basically no recoil. It's incredibly mobile. And I genuinely speaking really love the XM4. You guys should definitely be using this thing if you are not already. It is an absolute tank of a gun. And now we're gonna get into the last gun here, which is gonna be the Bullfrog. So the Bullfrog is a amazing SMG. I think this is probably one of the top, 3 SMGs in Warzone right now. So you guys should definitely be using this, especially this setup I'm gonna show you guys. First thing is first, obviously, that sound suppressor. I'm not gonna explain this one here again, just because I've explained it already. Next up in the barrel section, we're going to that 7.4 task force, effective damage range, bullet velocity, and strafe speed. This, of course, is just going to be the hardest hitting barrel, and the Bullfrog realistically doesn't have hardly any recoil to begin with. So there's no real reason you guys should be running anything else if you're trying to compensate for the recoil. I mean, it just doesn't really have any, so just always run this thing. Next up, we're going into that laser section. What we're doing is we're throwing on that Tiger Team Spotlight for that movement speed and walking movement speed. Like I said, Tiger Team Spotlight, you really can't go wrong with it. And it sometimes also helps you see people in those dark corners, which can be very beneficial. You just run around a corner, your spotlight's going out there. I mean, hey, who cares if somebody can see it? I mean, you can see them probably a little bit better than they can see you. So that is really awesome. Now we're going to be in the underbarrel section here, and what we're going to do is we're going to go down and we're going to use the bruiser grip, because this gives us 2 pros for 0 cons and increasing our movement speed and our hipfire accuracy. Obviously, we're using this as an SMG for close quarter stuff, so if we can increase our movement speed and make ourselves more accurate at hipfire, that is incredible. So I would always recommend to run the bruiser grip. And what is amazing about this gun is that we can skip over the magazine entirely because it has 50 rounds as a base magazine, which is sometimes even more than you can get with an extended mag on most other SMGs out there. So there's no reason for us to kind of mess with the magazine, kind of even like to add more. I mean, you definitely can, but it's just kind of like a bit of a waste of an attachment, at least on the Bullfrog and sometimes even the PP19 Bison. So we're going to throw on the bruiser grip here. And then last but definitely not least, we're going to that stock category. And once again, the KGB skeletal stock. This is a banger build. You're going to be super mobile, and it's going to be kind of nuts. This is why this thing is so unbelievably effective. It's almost like you have 6 attachments instead of 5 on the Bullfrog because that magazine is so large already. This is an amazing gun. Well, that's all I got for you guys here on this top 5. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, give it a like, subscribe if you're brand new, turn on those post notifications, check out one of my previous videos here at the end, and just start out triple cap. Don't be Randy, and I'm out. Peace.